Flag guitar lesson. This is for the version of Wavin Flag that you are probably seeing during the World Cup. A previous version that I did for our YouTube video was the Troubadour album version, which has a few different chord progressions to it. But this one is the one that you'll be watching during the World Cup. This song has 4 chords: C, F, A minor, and G. I'll show you a couple different ways to play these chords to give your playing some variety. When a song has just 4 chords and a lot of repetition, it's nice to have a few different ways to play it so that you can have some variety in your playing and your playing can stand out a little bit rather than just being the same over and over and over again. First of all, you may want to play your chords in the regular position. I'll show you a couple ways to do that. You have a C like this. The F, you could play either as the 4-string F chord. So I've got 2, my first finger on 2 strings and then up 1, 1, 4 strings on the strum, F chord. Or if your hand can handle this, here's the full bar chord F like this. So then we get all the bass notes. A lot harder to play, but it has a lot more depth. This one can work, or this. Then the A minor chord, you can play in a regular fashion like this. And then G, you can play. I like to play G like this. Here's one variation. Notice that the A string here is muted off by my middle finger coming up to play the bass note G, and it's touching the A string, so it just clicks. So I don't have a note on the A string at all. Then my ring finger, my 3rd finger, is playing the 3rd fret of the 2nd string to give that extra note in it. That would be a D note in a G chord. And then here's your pinky playing the high G. Then you have your 2nd finger on the bass note G, and like this. It's a little more modern sounding than the folkier sounding traditional G like this. It's a nice G, but I prefer to use this G in this song for a more modern sound. Those are the 4 chords you need. Now here's a strum pattern that can work, especially for the soundtrack that I have designed for this song, and for the real song that you're probably listening to a lot in the World Cup now. The main strum pattern is 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Okay, I like to practice strum patterns like this, just taking my hand and muting the strings. Don't worry about any chords, but just strum along to this. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Alright? You put the strums, or you put the real chords into it, 2 beats for each chord. So we have C, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So there's one way to play the set of chords using more of the standard open shapes. If you want to go for some more variety and your hand can handle this, you can take and play more of the bar chord style. This is sometimes played more of an electric style, but you can do this on an acoustic too, just for that closed sound. It doesn't have the open ringing out sound. So here's your power chord C. So we just play the C and the C, just the 3 notes in the middle, like that. So we play C, F, A minor, and G. 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So there's using more full bar chords. They're a lot harder to play, but if you've been playing guitar for a while, you may be able to do that as well. And then when you're playing the song, you may want to go back and forth between those two styles, just to, once again, to show a variety in sound and in playing style. Mixing and matching of those two styles. Notice the ending chord here. You can throw in this C. This is a bar chord, C2. So we have, if you think of it as an A chord or an A2, there's just those two notes of the A chord. And then bring those up and bar it. So you want these two notes to ring out here at the bottom. There's a C2, another variation on how you can make a C chord sound less boring. That's how you can play it on standard position here. You may also want to play this with the capo. And with see the sheet there for the chords we're going to play. I'm going to capo the guitar on the 5th fret. Just check the tuning here. Sometimes the tuning changes as you put the capo on. Sounds all right. Now the chords we're going to use are G, C, E minor, and D. We can use the exact same strum pattern, and I'll show you a few different variations with these chords as well. We can use the G chord that I showed you earlier. Then we can play C, then E minor, and D. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So that's the exact same strumming pattern and kind of normal ways of playing the chords. There's a more modern way to play some of these chords, like the G, then the C, sometimes called C add 9. Basically, these two notes here, the 3rd fret from the capo with your pinky and your ring finger, these two chords or notes can be added into the first 3 chords, the G, C, and the E minor. So then you'll get a sound like this: 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. That high ringing out sound, you get that over almost all the chords. If you hold that over D as well, you get a D sus. So usually you want to let go of the pinky note and go back to the 2nd fret from the capo just to resolve it into a D chord. So we get 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Notice that time on the beat 3 I kept it on the D sus and then releasing to the D. Okay. On the video, on the promo video that I put together, there's just a bit of a different strumming pattern you can use on this. This is breaking down one of the measures into 16th notes. So I'll count it out. Here's how it might sound: 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3, 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Counting 16ths when you're playing, you count 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. That's a standard way to count 16ths. Measures 1 and measures 2 of the E minor and the D now can be played in the normal pattern: 1 and a 2 and a 3 E and a 4 and a. That's how you play the E minor D section. I'll just do it really slow again. Sometimes these 16th notes are harder to explain than to actually do. So follow what I'm doing here, and I'll count it out, play it nice and slow. We'll start with the G. The G and the C, we can use the same 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Then we get to E minor, 1 and a 2 and a, and on beat 3, we're going to stay on the D, and we're going to switch on the up. Once again, I'll show it. That's how to explain it technically, but here's how we can do it. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Okay, so in the course of that, I kept the D sus going. You can go for that sound if you wish. Sometimes you may want to release it and play the D. In the course of explaining, I just kind of forgot to let go. Here it is again. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Okay, so there it is, played a couple of times over with the capo, and adding those high notes just gives it a little bit of an extra high sound, kind of almost like a mandolin kind of sound. You'll notice a lot of pop, acoustic rock songs like to use that high, these two high notes inside of the G and the E minor and the C chords. So hopefully that helps you out to play the song, gives you a couple of different ways to play it. Once again, the chord pattern is the same. From the 4 chords repeat themselves over and over and over. So if you have a few different ways that you can play it, it will give your playing some variety and help you to sound good. Hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I'm MrDWillems, and that is Wavin' Flag.